That's right. Welcome back to the Puck Drop Podcast. I'm Cole, the NHL Music Man Chapman, and I'm here with Lieutenant Dangle D.
Still got it.
Back in action. Here we are, and we are brought to you by Hockey Stops. Don't forget that. Your one-stop shop up in Ogden and Logan. Corey, the crew, everybody there is amazing. They take good care of you. If you're getting new into hockey, if your kids are getting new into it, that's the place to go. And we are also brought to you by Beer Bar. That's where we host all of our watch parties. I'm going to throw a wink there because we've got some stuff brewing on watch parties, and it's going to be amazing.
What about Utah?
And Utah. So we did the Four Nations championship game watch party at Utah. There was no more sitting room. We had to actually turn people away.
Good.
So it was great. Great turnout across the board. And we're going to do a special shout out here to the Ogden Mustangs, and we're here with the head coach, Kenny Orlando.
Thank you guys for having me today.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
I'm glad you could come because you kind of had me on a tilt there for a minute with,
He's a busy
what
man.
Time? Yeah. I'm like, well, what do you mean, what time?
Yeah.
Well, you're busy. It's hard to get you.
Yep.
It's hard to get some. You know, we're blessed to have the time with you.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me on. It's really cool.
It's been great.
Yeah.
So
It's been a fun season so far.
Yeah. We've had a good mix of ups and downs.
Yeah.
Definitely some character tests, but no one's going to have a perfect season. So finding ways to fight through that, and we've got to learn how we're finding ways to win games and how we're finding ways to lose games. It's really important coming down the stretch, going into the playoffs, so we know what we're doing when we get into those crucial moments.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we're diving right in, swan dive here. How many games left? I mean, I know a lot of people have clinched, like we kind of briefly discussed earlier. With that being said, though, what does it take from here on out? How many do you need? How many do you, we don't want to lose.
Yeah,
and I say we as in
right?
we, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, all four teams have already clinched, so it's just a matter of seeding, and you're fighting for home ice at this point. So,
and I know this already, but I'm gonna ask you anyways. How many out of division?
Four out of six.
Okay.
4 out of 6 in our division will play. Obviously, it'll get from 4 down to 2, 2 down to 1. There'll be a Mountain Division champion, and that champion will head east at the end of April and play in a Final Four series, like a round robin with 3 of the East teams. The Atlantic champion, the New England champion, and then the best of the rest out of them over there. So,
So have you? Has
4 teams total.
Has the Ogden Mustangs been to those
That
additional
stage,
championships? Yeah.
Yeah, we went to that stage last year. So last season was all of our first year in the NCDC playing a Tier 2 hockey level, like the tuition-free hockey level. We had a lot of success last season. Their team was really strong top to bottom, had a lot of kids willing to do everything that it took to get to where we did. We had a really good first-round series. We were the 1 seed. We played Idaho. They were the 4 seed. We won both of our home games. We went up there, and we actually went to overtime and skated a puck into our own net in an elimination game.
I saw that.
So that was all over the place. It was on every
every platform. Yeah.
We
And
actually
I
had to
was
go back up there, and we won in that overtime.
Yeah.
So game 4, we won in overtime, and then we went through 3 games against the Outliers and swept them in 3.
Resiliency.
Which, very, very good series there as well. We had a double overtime game against the Outliers that was actually won off of a dump in from center ice.
Wow.
Crazy type of game. Like, you just can't predict what was happening.
Yeah. Puck bounces weird, man. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, you're talking about skating one into your own net. Like, it reminds me of the Utah Hockey Club. Like their first ever goal.
Yeah.
Well,
It was an own goal, and it was
just
just
just the resiliency to back it, like keep going back. Adversity happens no matter what. Resiliency. That was a good pause there.
I was like, who are you looking at?
Yeah,
Damn camera.
It's definitely the response that you have to those tough moments.
Yeah.
So like just referring back to your question, like we won the Mountain Division. We were the representative to go east, and last year it was just the final 2 teams. So it was Mountain Division versus the East winner.
Awesome.
So we played in a series of 3 against the South Shore Kings. We won the first game Second game was 1-1 going into the third period, and we ended up with 60 plus penalty minutes in the third period.
In the third period?
Yeah, yeah. So we played like eight or 9 minutes of 5-on-3 against.
Tilt that momentum, baby. so you didn't get to coach the next game. Then.
My assistant didn't get to coach the next game. He got booted in that one.
Oh wow!
But then that put us into a game three, the do or die for the league championship. We played through 60 minutes. 59 minutes through, we were down 3-2, and we scored in the last minute of the game to tie it, to send it to overtime. And overtime, we had a chance to score. Puck didn't bounce in the net, bounced in our net next. So we were literally one shot away from being league champions last year. So just to answer your question anyway, the dynamic this year being a 4-team championship is a little bit different than last year, where it was a 2-team championship, and you won your division and you were going for the title.
Right.
A little bit different now. You have to sift through a little bit more. But again, it's all good tests. I mean, we have 4 great teams that have clinched the Mountain Division playoffs, and anyone can win any night. It's clear.
I was going to say, you're throwing in more teams into the mix, and that's, I don't know, as a competitor, that's kind of exciting.
Well, and that's going to tier 2
Yeah.
instead of tier 1, though, correct?
Yeah, it's tier 2
NCDC.
from tier 3, where we're at in USPHL Premier.
Which is a lot better. I mean, you get the extra added bonus of a referee that can see things behind the play. I mean, I say extra added bonus. A lot of people might not like that, but at the end of the day, like, you're leveling up. The community of hockey here is leveling up.
It's been great for us. I mean, stepping into the NCDC last year, this year, like the quality of player, the people we're working with are definitely higher end as far as their abilities go. Their ceiling's just a little bit higher, and for us, in our community, it's an honor to get to work with those types of players. Guys that have aspirations to play Division I. This year we have 2 Division I committed players on our team.
Awesome.
Last year we didn't have any, but we had one who left us and committed Division I to Lake Superior State. So,
awesome.
we've had that clientele be able to come through and make it to that next level that they're looking for.
Well, and I know scouts have been rolling in, I mean, NCAA scouts have been popping in. We've had wind of that. We've talked about that. For those watching, like, make sure you're on your game every time you play. Anytime you're anywhere. Even if you're at a restaurant or a grocery store.
You never know who's watching.
Exactly.
Well, that's the thing, right? There's so much to representing yourself as an individual and a professional, and representing your brand. And, I think some of the younger guys are still learning that. Being able to represent who you are, what you value, and doing that not just when your name's called for your next shift, right? Like doing that in the locker room, doing that away from the rink. The community events that we have where we're constantly in front of the community, like representing yourself the right way. And it's not just you, but it's everyone. It's that you're representing your whole group.
Well, and that's a tricky age.
Somebody starts to get a little off, go pick them up.
Yeah.
But that's a tricky age, like
100%.
there's a lot of pressure. Like as a coach, you're coaching 16 to 20.
Yeah.
And
then they're professionals in and of itself.
Yeah. That's just like that age group where you're like, you think you have everything figured out, but
you don't even pay rent.
When you get older, you realize you're like, I didn't know.
But your path, as far as being a hockey player anyway, your path is usually carved by the successes that you have in those 3 to 4 years.
Facts.
Yeah.
So like
crucial time.
Guys don't recognize how crucial some of these moments are, and how big they are obviously for the team, but also for their individual careers.
Well, and with that being said, this isn't some bum beer league hockey.
No.
They're phenomenal.
Yeah.
And they need to buckle it in, dial it in, and get going.
Have you had that talk with them? Like just
I'm
one-on-one?
sure everything in the damn book's been said.
I'm sure. But
we've thrown a lot.
That's motivating. That's motivating. Like
for sure.
if I was a 16-year-old,
I'm going to go around being like, how does it feel to get dressed out here?
Yeah, there's been a lot over the years. I mean, a lot of different tactics that you got to use. I mean, it depends on your locker room, depends on the drive of your players and how they're built and how your team's built as a whole. Like you have to find
chemistry
buttons to push at the right time.
Yep.
You can't push the same button 100 times in a row. It's going to eventually break, right? Like it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
So finding different ways to stimulate the guys and keep them focused on what the plan is and the eye on the prize at the end of the year. What that is as a collective it's tough. It's not an easy job, and there's a reason. this position, coaching in particular in sport, like, junior hockey in particular, college, like you're hired to get fired. Like there's times where these situations, they change on you, like the players, the dynamics, the cultures, whatever it may be. Like, so it's a tough position.
Yeah.
For sure. And that goes for all levels. That goes for all levels.
Well, you mean, look at the turnover in the pros, right? Yeah. Like how quickly that stuff changes. And, you got to really find a way to connect with your room and find what works for your guys to get them going the right way. Because you can't try the same trick with every single kid because it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's facts.
Well, we always kind of joke around. So like if we end up going to the East tournament or whatever's after.
Oh yeah. Do you got bus? We need 4 bus seats.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a far bus ride.
We will hype up. Oh, well, buy me a plane ticket then.
Yeah.
How far do you think?
It's Utah to New Jersey. It's like 31 hours.
Damn, 24 was my farthest.
Did you guys travel by bus last year?
No, we flew.
Okay,
we flew.
I was going to say.
All right, well, get us a plane ticket. We'll hype up that plane and
regardless, we'll just way to get out of jail. Yeah. When they get off the plane if we have to get our own.
Sin bin.
Nah.
Yeah, it's been a really competitive season. Like we're really, as far as the division shaping up, like we're really happy with what it looks like as far as the caliber of player and the quality that we're seeing on the ice every night.
Are you guys seeing new leaders, or are you seeing anything coming up on that front end of things? I mean,
as far as our team or what? Like,
just in general. I mean, like people that are stepping up to take like a leadership role, maybe if somebody opts out, like as an age grouped out,
Yeah, as far as like if you're looking at some of our guys that could return next year, there's been guys that have been stepping up and guys that, obviously we want to have back that help keep the room the way we want it.
Right.
And that they're not all 21-year-old leaders. Right?
Absolutely.
Like there's some guys that are.
It takes a certain personality to be a leader. It really does.
For 100%. Anybody that's watching this with like kids coming up that like are going to be potential to play in junior hockey and the level of play through the NCDC or anywhere you go, and you make it somewhere, it doesn't take a letter to be a leader. It takes everybody together to be leaders. You're not a boss. You're a leader. I don't like the term boss because that's somebody that just
points and doesn't
do anything.
Yeah.
You're a leader. I've seen you coach. You're a bum. I just had to say that. I'm sorry.
All right, where's my button?
It's been a minute. I had to give him some. I'm still laughing. No.
So to touch on like players coming back and whatnot, next year and everything. So what did the team look like last year? So last year you guys won the championship, right? Mm-hmm. What did the team look like last year compared to this year? How many of the players on the team this year were on the team last year?
You get asked that question every once in a while, and it always takes me a second to get you an exact number, but I'd say it's a ballpark 10.
Yeah.
A ballpark 10, give or take 1 or 2. And there's guys that are returning for us that played a crucial role last year, and there's guys that are returning for us now that were not in such a crucial role last year, that were a little bit more of a role player, that have leaned into a better role this year for us. So we've kind of seen a good mix of both guys that have stepped up from, last season they had to be relied on, and this year they've been doing it more. And then some guys that were kind of in and out, fighting to get their time. And this year they've been a lot more consistent. So we've kind of had a little bit of both on that end from guys that have returned for us.
Yeah. So man, as a coach, that's a tough job, man, to be able to recognize the changes in each, not only as a team, but like each individual player, and to navigate and figure out how to implement that.
Well, and it's funny
in
because
games,
as the game progresses from like just coaching 12s, right?
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of kids. Mm-hmm. But when they hit this level of 16 to 20, you're giving them responsibilities. Are they going to go through with those responsibilities? How are they going to carry those responsibilities? Instead of us having to babysit at my level, where I was, right? Totally different.
Yeah.
We're teaching them those responsibilities. You're giving them those responsibilities. So that's kind of like a huge, offset toward, a person's ability and responsibility to do something.
Yeah,
It's like you're not playing the game.
No,
you're there to educate them and help them.
I want to. I'm watching.
Hey,
watching some of the stuff we've been going through recently and our struggles, and I'm just like,
let's go.
You want to be able to hop out there and fix some of it.
Yeah. I got an idea.
But guys got to accept their roles on where they're at and be a part of the puzzle to get the job done.
I got an idea. You're going to be coach. We're going to recruit, and then we're going to do like a coaches versus Mustangs game.
Well, maybe we can get maybe we can get Spicy Tuna up into the locker room, because of all people, that guy, he knows he says it all the time. He knows his job. He knows his job on the team.
He's an enforcer. Yeah. He doesn't like to admit it.
He gets healthy scratched all the time, and I think it's like
everybody has a role.
Well, it's not even just enforcer. I think he just brings the spark to the team.
He's a hype man. He's an enforcer.
Yeah, I mean,
no disrespect if you're watching.
He brings good vibes, and like those vibes.
Oh, he's amazing.
Can really snowball when it comes to a team element.
Well, and like we talked in previous, like it's also nice to hear it from somebody else instead of the same heartbeat sometimes. And that's inevitable.
We're together
in sports. Every day,
right?
Yeah.
We're
you get
together every day from the end of August.
I get comfortable with him,
April.
And I'm just like, I don't care.
Do you guys do any like extracurricular like team building activities?
Yeah, there's stuff. I mean, earlier on in the season, there's more of it, right? Like you're trying to figure out who you have in the room.
Chemistry.
And what chemistry's personalities, what clicks. But later in the season, like it's more of if you're getting together outside of the rink, it's to kind of increase morale, make sure we're on the same page. It's not so much of a get to know you, but more of just a bonding experience. That's all.
Yeah. That stuff goes. It works. It helps.
Well, and hockey doesn't stop either. So it's just and how often are you guys rotating? Like So, for example, is there language barriers? Mm-hmm. You're going to have language barriers. You guys have a lot of people from overseas, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we normally do, but this year not as many.
And I kind of wondered that. That's what one of my other questions was like, where are they from?
Yeah, we got 2 Canadians, and our goalie, Dylan's, is from Latvia. So we don't have that much this year. I mean, in years past, we've covered tons of countries.
Like, there's been like 3 players from the States at one point, I remember.
Yeah, I mean... back in their old time, it was probably that low of American.
It really was.
Count of American players.
That was a long time ago. Like what, 2012, maybe 13-ish?
Yeah. But even last year would be a good example of just, I mean, we had Sweden, Finland, Czech, Slovakia, what else? I mean, Hungary.
Oh, cool.
There were USA, Canada. I mean, it was a melting pot, compared to this year's a little less of the melting pot aspect, but there's definitely years where you have to try to relay a message to someone where they might not be grasping every single word you're saying.
So with that,
it's tough.
I'm going to roll into something else too, though. So how do you guys recruit then? I mean, obviously you're going to have things that you probably wouldn't want to say or things that you can say or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, just in the simple aspect, I mean, like we're trying to build a puzzle, right? I mean, it doesn't matter where the guy comes from.
Oh, for sure.
But his abilities have to be at a certain level, and him as a person needs to be at a certain level. You need to have good people in your organization. You want to have guys that want to be there and want to be there for the right reasons. But finding that talent, it's okay if it's...
Are they reaching out to you?
Yeah.
Are you reaching out to them?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
A little bit of both. Yeah, we get tons of inquiries throughout the season, more in the second half of the year, like January through April.
Are you traveling? Are you watching film?
Yeah, so in season, I'll watch film when these guys reach out.
Okay.
Once the season ends, we have, throughout the season, we have scouts all over the place. We have scouts in California, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, and everywhere in between. So you
just reach out to them and like, hey,
they got some areas. Ohio, our head scouts from Ohio. Yeah, we're always looking for more scouts, guys that can evaluate talent and understand the way that we want our players to play. You can never have enough people evaluating. Once we find people that we trust on that, it really helps us kind of be able to dive a little bit deeper. And if we have 2 players that are similar, just understanding a little bit more on them, because we have the right scouts in there digging into these players deeper and understanding which one would maybe be a better fit for our program.
Well, and then building relations with them and then being able to personalize and have a handshake, right? I mean, I can make phone calls all day, but that's not going to be something like meeting you and actually getting to know you.
Yes.
Like, on a personal level.
For sure. And from May through August, I'll do a lot of the in-person recruiting around the States. But out, during season when I'm not leaving, like we do really heavily rely on our scouting staff to be going out and watching these things and getting that in-person feel with some of these recruits that we think could be on our team next year.
And then what age group are you looking at? That's probably 14s up, right?
Like 16s up. I mean, if there's a real standout down there like
14
at a 14, you might look
keep
at them.
Keep an eye on it, like maybe.
Yeah, it's more of
that.
Yeah, it's more of a USHL, major juniors type of thing for them to peak at that level.
Right. Well, I know you're not going to bring up a 14, obviously.
Yeah.
But like just to keep let's put a star on this guy and just keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
Of his development and growth and who he turns into as a person.
Yes.
And then go back on it.
Yeah, for sure. We have lists for years out. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I was. Okay. That was my question.
As far as like building a team for next season, obviously you're looking at a certain age range.
Right.
But there are those guys you throw an asterisk next to that sometimes they stand out and you think they might need another year or two and they don't, and they're ready to get right in and just you roll with it. I mean, sometimes you get a kid like that. Like we had that last year with Brizgalov, right? It's obviously an NHL name and his son was great. He came in and he was great for us last year in the first half of the year. And
was he defense?
He was goalie.
Oh, the goalie. Yeah. He went up north now, huh?
Yeah, he finished his season in the BCHL.
That's right. Yep.
He's been playing this year in the North American League.
I knew that. Damn it.
But just like you can see it with some of the young talents, like they jump off the page quick,
and
it's fun to work
go
with
a
them.
long way. I mean, of course.
Yeah.
And don't get discouraged when we say that because that's everyday life. Sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know.
100%.
Well, with the time left, I want to know more about you and how you got started. But before we do that, genuine appreciation from the Ogden, Northern Weber County. I know we probably speak for everybody up in the Weber counties that we appreciate you and everything you've done for the Ogden Mustangs. I almost said Utah Grizzlies. But yeah, no, seriously, like you've done amazing things with the Ogden Mustangs.
And so how long have you been with the Mustangs and then carry on with what you want?
Yeah, this is my 5th year.
Yeah.
So we were 3 years in the USPHL Premier and now this is 2 years in the NCDC.
See, and I've seen you around so much, but it's just been, not now now I see you a lot. Back in the day.
So your hockey, where are you from? I assume you started from when you were a little kid and worked your way up. Let's hear a brief story of how you got into it.
Yeah, it's a good story. I mean,
where are you from?
From just outside of Philadelphia. So
are you an Eagles fan?
Yeah. That was a good one for us. That was solid. I mean, you're not going to see that from the Flyers anytime soon, unfortunately. But
I don't want to hear about the Flyers. I'm talking about Philadelphia.
I know.
I'm just teasing.
Unfortunately, they kind of stink. But I really like Tortorella, though. I love him.
Yeah, fair enough.
But anyway, I grew up. My dad got me into hockey at a really young age. I was probably on skates before 3 years old. Got to play at a rink that was maybe about 15 minutes from our house until I was like 7. Okay. And when I was 7 years old, my dad actually built a rink with his own hands.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. I mean, like nice. Top to bottom. Like, so.
How big?
It was a 2-sheet facility when he built it, and now it's a 3-sheet.
Wow.
And a mini rink across the street.
So this isn't some ODR.
Oh, yeah.
What? No, this is a real deal. Like,
whoa.
It's Hatfield Ice Arena in Colmar, Pennsylvania.
When are we going?
So you just grew up on...
I grew up on the ice. I mean,
that's awesome.
So the rink was up when I was 8.
Mm-hmm. We're going to have some conversations after this.
So I played for my dad from 8 until 16. And I would argue that he was the best coach that I've ever had.
Yeah.
And I know that, there could be bias there, but there could also be the other way of, I'm not listening to my dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like X's and O's, motivational, like just he knew everything. And I think obviously there's a lot of tie to why I'm still involved with the game even after being done from him.
Yeah.
But so that 8 to 16 years old, I was playing for him out of Hatfield Ice. We were a AA team that played against all the AAA teams, and we beat majority of them. We were always stirring the pot. It was politics. They wouldn't let us play in the AAA stuff, but we were the AA team that would
going
kick all ass. Every team.
Especially coming out of Utah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. You get it here. So when I was 16 going on 17, I played some juniors in Pennsylvania, and then I got kind of made the jumps all around and played a year in the Western States in New Mexico. Played a year in British Columbia up in Osoyoos. I played a year back. Actually got to live with my grandparents. I played a year in Philadelphia of my final year of juniors. And
were you junior A?
What's that?
You were junior A. I'm not going to. That's a stupid question.
Well,
no.
Yeah. So finished some juniors with Wilkes-Barre Scranton, and then I went to play Division III college hockey at SUNY Canton. So it's in the SUNYAC division. That division, like I thought that hockey was spectacular. Like even now with our kids that are getting opportunities, like in the SUNYAC, I always encourage it. It's some of the best hockey I think in Division III in the whole country. Unfortunately, I played there as a freshman. I only got to play my first 7 or 8 games. I forget what it was. It might have been 7. And I ended up with a concussion in practice. On Thanksgiving Day, I ran into one of my line mates reaching for a puck. It was my second concussion, and it lasted way longer than I thought. Kept me out for the remainder of the season.
Wow.
And the symptoms never really subsided. So, this is 10 years later now, and I still have symptoms. I mean, they've went way down.
Yeah.
Body figures out how to operate around some damaged tissue and damaged nerve endings and everything else in your brain, and it rewires itself in a way. But I definitely have a soft spot now for guys that end up with concussion issue.
Well, and it doesn't even take the biggest hit to notify.
No,
it doesn't.
No, I mean it's just a shaking of the brain.
Yep.
That's all it is. And
I've definitely had my fair share. I think I'm on 3+. I could be wrong. I don't know. Yeah. No,
yeah,
for sure.
and
that's why he's bald.
So if I get one more, I'm bald. Then, so.
I usually say if I sneeze so hard it fell through my chin, but maybe I just got hit so hard it fell out of the top of my damn head. I don't know.
I mean, no matter what, I mean, I think my professional careers and the end of my college hockey career got cut way short as a freshman, but didn't take away my love for the game. I got to step in as a sophomore in college. I transferred home to be able to have my brain worked on consistently with doctors in the Philadelphia area. So I transferred to Temple University. I was no longer playing hockey, but I was coaching hockey as a sophomore in college.
And this might stir pots, but at the end of the day, like I agree. Like maybe try out some red light therapy.
Yep.
And that might stir pots. We're not going to go into that, but yeah.
No, but there's so many different avenues, right? And not the same method works for every guy, right? Or girl or whoever that goes through an injury with the brain. Yeah. But regardless, I was a sophomore going to school every day, and some of my best friends were the hockey players, and I would leave school and go to the rink, and I was their coach. So awesome. I'm sitting with them in class, and I'm their buddy, and I leave class, and I'm like, I gotta figure out how to get this kid to play in the D zone.
Here, boys.
Yeah, like this kid's D zone's horrible. Yeah. Like I got to figure it out. You know what I mean? Like I'm like sitting there, and he's like my buddy, but I'm coaching him, and those couple years were very unique. Obviously that's something that I'll never have again. But I'm really fortunate.
Well, and you've created a good path.
Yeah.
Keep
so
going.
it's been great. I got to do 2 years at Temple.
You have so many opportunities.
2 years with Villanova. So that's 4 years in college hockey as a whole. Awesome. Then I took a year in the North American League with the Austin Bruins in Minnesota. Before I ended up here for the last 5. So that's kind of my story. The family's rank's still kicking. That thing is full 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. every single day.
Check that out.
We're going.
Yeah, I mean it's such a great facility. I'll give you guys a tour whenever you want.
We're gonna talk more. We're about to run out of film here.
I want to play hockey.
We're about to run out of film here. This is gonna be the end of our podcast. No.
We'll have you back.
Yeah, it's fine. It's
amazing
fine.
stories.
Right after you guys win the championship. So boys, take notes and don't hit that damn button.
I don't know where it is.
Beep and don't. Yeah.
This has been the Puck Drop Podcast. Thanks, Kenny. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.